All right, so picture this. You're jet setting off to Europe, right? Multiple countries, maybe. But instead of that whole routine of digging through your bag for your passport and paperwork at every border, what if everything was like totally digital, secure, personalized, the whole shebang?
That would definitely streamline things.
Right, it'd be pretty slick. And that's exactly what the EU is aiming for with all these digital travel initiatives they're rolling out. So in this deep dive, we're going to break down exactly what that means, what it actually looks like, not just for, policymakers and stuff, but for you, like when you're on the ground actually traveling.
And it's pretty ambitious what they're trying to do. This isn't just like tweaking a few things here and there. They're going for a complete overhaul of like the entire travel experience from, the minute you start planning your trip to when you get back home.
So we're not just talking about like zipping through passport control faster, right?
Right.
This is about rethinking how technology can actually address all those little or not so little pain points of travel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All those like little annoyances that, just kind of build up and make travel stressful.
Totally. Like, remember that mountain of paperwork we all had to deal with during the pandemic? All those forms and like different requirements for each country?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And the EU wants to make those headaches a thing of the past. One of the big tools they were looking at is biometric systems. So like, imagine walking through border control with just a quick iris scan. No more fumbling for your passport.
So you just like glance at a scanner and you're good to go.
Yeah, basically. But they're aiming for a multi-layered approach. So it's not just iris scanning. They're looking at fingerprint scans, facial recognition, even things like gait analysis. The idea is to create a system that's super secure but also flexible, so travelers who aren't comfortable with certain types of biometrics would have other options.
Gotcha. So it's not about like forcing everyone into one system. It's about giving people choices while still keeping everything secure. But all this talk of scanning faces and fingerprints, I mean, it does make you wonder, like, what's to stop this from turning into some kind of Orwellian surveillance state?
Yeah, I mean, that's a valid concern, and it's something the EU is taking very seriously. Their whole approach is centered on this idea of data minimization. So they're only collecting and storing the absolute minimum amount of data needed for verification.
Okay, so no massive databases of everyone's biometric data then.
Not according to their plan. The idea is that your biometric data is used to authenticate you and then it's deleted. So it's really about using technology to streamline things, not to build up huge stores of personal information.
Okay, that's reassuring. But even if we trust their intentions, I still can't help but think about all the potential points of failure, like what if the system crashes or someone hacks into it? We're talking about incredibly sensitive data here.
Yeah, no, you're right to be concerned about that. The EU is well aware of the potential cybersecurity risks. That's why they're investing heavily in building systems that are as robust and resilient as possible. So, like strong encryption, multi-factor authentication, constant monitoring for any signs of, breaches or suspicious activity.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about all the infrastructure and security protocols around it. That makes sense. And I mean, speaking of keeping data secure, we got to talk about health information. The EU is also working on these digital health certificates, right?
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to create this like standardized, interoperable system. So all your vaccination records, test results, other relevant health info, it's all securely stored and easy to access when you're traveling.
Sounds great in theory, but I'm thinking about how complex healthcare systems are, across different countries. How are they going to make sure a certificate issued in, say, Portugal is actually recognized and accepted in Finland?
Right. Well, that's where this whole interoperability thing comes in.
Yeah.
They're working on establishing common data formats, security protocols and verification systems. All that stuff has to work across every single EU member state. Like, think of it as a universal language for digital health data.
Okay, so no more carrying around a stack of paper documents or worrying about whether your certificate's going to fly in the next country you visit.
Exactly.
This could be a total game changer, especially for folks with chronic illnesses or, complex medical histories who have to travel a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. It could really streamline everything, make it way easier for travelers to manage their health info and for authorities to verify everything they need to without compromising people's privacy.
Definitely. Okay, so we've covered biometrics and these health certificates. What else is the EU cooking up in its digital travel lab?
Well, this is where it starts to get really futuristic. They're exploring the potential of AI, artificial intelligence, to totally revolutionize travel as we know it.
Okay, now we're talking. AI is like the buzzword of the century, right? But I'm curious to hear how it actually applies to travel. What does that even look like?
Think of it like this, right? AI is like this super-powered travel agent. But instead of just booking flights and hotels, it's analyzing tons of data,
Yeah.
like in real time, to optimize every single part of your trip.
Okay, you've got my attention. Give me some concrete examples. How could AI actually improve my travel experience?
Right? Let's say you're flying to Paris for a long weekend. AI could analyze like historical flight data, weather patterns, even stuff people are saying on social media to predict potential delays. And then, based on all that, it could suggest the best time to book your flights to minimize the risk of disruptions.
So AI could basically help me avoid all that airport chaos. Sign me up.
Exactly. It's all about using data to anticipate those bottlenecks and then adjust things in real time to keep everything flowing smoothly. And it's not just airports either. London's Heathrow Airport, for example, is using AI-powered facial recognition technology to speed up the boarding process.
Okay, I can definitely see the appeal of that. No more fumbling with your boarding pass and like juggling all your stuff. Just a quick scan and you're on your way. But walk me through how that facial recognition tech actually works, like in practice.
Sure. So when you check in for your flight, the system takes a picture of your face and links it to your boarding pass. Then when you get to the gate, you just walk up to a camera, it matches your face to your boarding pass, and boom, you're good to go.
That sounds super efficient, but what about like the privacy aspect of it? Is my face just being stored somewhere?
Well, Heathrow says their facial recognition system is designed to prioritize privacy. They claim your face is only stored for the time it takes to board, and then it's deleted.
So they're not building some like mega database of everyone's faces.
Not according to them, no.
Yeah.
It's just for streamlining the boarding process, not for surveillance or data collection. But let's move beyond airports for a sec. AI is also being used to enhance travel experiences once you're actually in a destination.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me how AI can make my next European adventure even better.
All right, imagine you're in Barcelona and you're super into Gaudi architecture. There are these AI-powered travel apps now that can create personalized itineraries based on things like your interests, how much time you have, even your walking speed.
So instead of just giving me like a generic list of landmarks, this app would actually put together a route that's like tailor-made for me.
Yeah, exactly. It can even factor in things like traffic, weather, even how crowded places are at certain times to suggest the optimal time to visit each spot.
That's pretty wild. It's like having a personal tour guide who knows the city inside and out. But what if I'm like the kind of traveler who likes to just wander off the beaten path and discover those hidden gems? Can AI help with that too?
Oh, for sure. AI is being used to analyze mountains of travel data, including reviews, social media posts, even local blogs, to find those like under-the-radar attractions that might not be in the typical guidebooks.
So instead of just hitting all the tourist traps, I could use AI to find those places most visitors never even hear about.
Exactly. AI can help you uncover those unique, authentic experiences that, really make travel memorable. But it goes even further than just planning and navigation. AI is also being used to make travel more accessible for people with disabilities.
Now that's something I'm really interested in. How's AI being used to make travel more inclusive?
Well, for example, there are AI-powered apps that can give real-time audio descriptions of your surroundings for visually impaired travelers. They can translate signs and menus into different languages and even provide step-by-step navigation for wheelchair users.
That's amazing. It's about using technology to break down barriers and make travel more accessible for everyone, no matter their abilities.
Exactly. The idea is to create a travel ecosystem where everyone can explore the world confidently and independently. But of course, with any powerful new technology, there are going to be challenges we have to address.
Okay, let's get real for a minute. What are some of the hurdles we still need to overcome to really bring this AI-powered vision of travel to life?
Well, one of the big ones is data privacy and security. As these AI systems gather and analyze more and more personal data, it's crucial to have strong safeguards in place to prevent misuse and protect travelers' privacy.
So, yeah, it's not just about developing the tech, but about having clear ethical guidelines and regulations around how it's used.
Absolutely. We need to make sure AI is used to enhance the travel experience, not to exploit travelers. And another challenge is making sure these AI systems are actually accessible and affordable for everyone.
That's a crucial point. We don't want to end up with a situation where only people who can afford the latest gadgets and apps can benefit from these advances.
Yeah, that's a risk. It's important to make sure these AI-powered travel solutions are available to all travelers, regardless of budget or, how tech savvy they are.
Hmm.
And then, of course, there's the question of human interaction.
Oh, that's an interesting one. How does AI affect like the human element of travel?
Well, some people worry that relying too much on AI could lead to a less authentic and less personal travel experience.
Like instead of interacting with locals and immersing ourselves in different cultures, we're just glued to our screens, following the AI's every instruction.
Yeah, that's a valid concern. It's important to remember AI should be a tool to enhance travel, not to replace human connection and those unexpected encounters you have when you're exploring a new place.
So it's all about striking the right balance, using AI to streamline and optimize certain aspects of travel, but still leaving room for spontaneity and human interaction.
Exactly. The goal is to use technology to make travel more seamless, more enjoyable, and more enriching without losing those things that make travel so special in the first place.
Okay, so I think we've laid a good foundation for understanding the big picture of what the EU is trying to achieve here. But now I want to shift gears a bit and talk about a specific company that's playing a big role in shaping this whole future of digital travel.
You mean Haptic R&D Consulting?
Exactly. We mentioned them briefly earlier, but I'd love to hear more about what they actually do and how they're contributing to this digital transformation.
Sure. So Haptic R&D Consulting is like at the forefront of travel tech innovation. They specialize in developing solutions that address all the challenges and opportunities of this digital travel ecosystem we're talking about.
So they're not just theorizing about the future of travel, they're out there building it.
Exactly. They're working on a wide range of projects, from developing AI-powered travel assistants to creating secure data management platforms for travel companies.
Can you give us some specific examples of what Haptic is working on? What kind of problems are they trying to solve?
Well, one of their main areas of focus is personalizing the traveler experience. They're developing AI systems that learn your travel preferences, anticipate what you need, and provide tailored recommendations and assistance throughout your trip.
So instead of getting like generic travel advice,
Yeah.
I could have a digital assistant that knows my personal travel style and gives me recommendations that are actually relevant to me.
Yeah, exactly. And Haptic's also working on solutions for data privacy and security, which is a huge concern in the travel industry.
Right, that's something we've talked a lot about today, and I'm sure it's on a lot of travelers' minds. What's Haptic doing to address that?
They're developing data management platforms that give travelers more control over their own data, so you can choose how it's used and make sure it's protected from unauthorized access.
So it's about giving travelers transparency and control, letting them make informed decisions about how their data is used.
Exactly. And they're also working on solutions to make travel more accessible for people with disabilities, like we talked about before. They're creating those AI-powered apps that provide audio descriptions, translation services, and navigation guidance.
Sounds like Haptic is really committed to making travel more inclusive and accessible for everyone.
Definitely. They believe technology should empower travelers, not exclude them. And they're doing some really innovative work to make that vision a reality.
That's awesome. It sounds like Haptic is really at the forefront of all this.
They are. They're definitely a company to keep an eye on as travel continues to evolve.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive. From the big picture vision to the very real challenges and how companies like Haptic are working on solutions. But I think it's safe to say the future of travel is looking pretty exciting.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I'm excited, a little bit apprehensive too, honestly. But I think the takeaway is that we have the power to shape this digital travel revolution,
Yeah.
to make sure it benefits both travelers and the planet.
I couldn't agree more. It's up to us to make sure technology is used to create a travel experience that's sustainable, inclusive, and enriching for everyone. I think we just scratched the surface of what AI can do for travel.
Yeah, for sure. It all sounds pretty futuristic. But what's happening right now, like on the ground? Are these just concepts or are we actually seeing AI at airports and train stations and stuff?
Oh, it's definitely already happening. A lot of major European airports are using AI to optimize passenger flow, for example.
Okay, so how does that work? What does that actually look like?
So Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport uses AI to predict passenger arrival times.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so they can allocate security checkpoints and even adjust gate assignments to minimize those crazy bottlenecks you get.
So instead of those long snaking lines at security, AI is helping to kind of even things out and make the whole process smoother.
Exactly. It's about using data to anticipate where the problems are going to be and then adjust things in real time to keep things moving. And it's not just airports either. London's Heathrow is using AI-powered facial recognition for faster boarding.
Oh, yeah, we touched on that a bit earlier. I could definitely see myself using that. No more digging around for your boarding pass while you're, like, trying to manage your carry-on.
Yeah.
But how does the facial recognition thing work in practice?
It's pretty straightforward, actually. When you check in for your flight, they take a picture of your face and link it to your boarding pass. Then at the gate, you just walk up to a camera, the system matches your face to your boarding pass, and you're on your way.
It does sound really efficient, but the privacy question comes up again. Is my face being stored in some database somewhere?
Well, Heathrow says the system is designed with privacy in mind. They claim your face is only stored for as long as it takes you to board, and then it's deleted.
Okay, so no permanent facial database.
That's what they say. The point is to streamline boarding, not to collect a bunch of data on people. But let's move away from airports for a minute. AI can also make travel better once you're actually exploring your destination.
Okay, I like where this is going. How can AI up my European adventure game?
Let's say you're in Barcelona and you want to see all the cool Gaudi architecture. There are these AI-powered travel apps now that can create a personalized itinerary for you based on your interests, your time limits, even how fast you walk.
So instead of just getting a list of landmarks, it's more like having a custom-made route.
Yeah, pretty much. It'll even factor in real-time stuff like traffic, weather, how crowded different places are to suggest the best time to go.
Wow, that's really impressive. It's like having a personal tour guide in your pocket. But what about if you're the kind of traveler who likes to go off the beaten path, you know? Find those hidden gems. Can AI help with that?
Definitely. AI can analyze all sorts of travel data, like reviews, social media posts, even those obscure travel blogs, to find those under-the-radar places that most tourists never see.
So you're telling me I could use AI to find those like secret spots that aren't in any of the guidebooks?
Exactly. It's about finding those authentic experiences that really make travel special. And AI isn't just for planning and finding your way around. It can actually make travel more accessible for people with disabilities.
Yeah, we touched on that before, and I think it's super important. How's AI changing things in that area?
Well, there are AI apps that provide audio descriptions for visually impaired travelers.
Right.
They can translate signs and menus into different languages, and they can even give step-by-step directions for people using wheelchairs.
That's really amazing. It's about using technology to break down those barriers and make it possible for everyone to travel no matter what their abilities are.
That's the goal, yeah, to create a world where everyone can explore and experience different cultures. Of course, with any powerful new tech, we have to think about the potential downsides too.
Right. Okay, reality check time. What are some of the obstacles that need to be overcome to make this vision of AI-powered travel a reality?
Well, data privacy and security are still huge concerns. The more we're relying on digital systems for travel, the more vulnerable we are to cyber attacks and data breaches.
That's definitely a scary thought. What if someone hacked into an airport's systems or stole everyone's personal data?
It's a real risk, and it's something that the EU takes very seriously. They're setting strict regulations and standards to protect people's information and prevent data breaches.
So it's not just about building the coolest, the most advanced technology, it's about making sure that technology is secure and trustworthy.
Absolutely. Cybersecurity is essential, both to protect travelers and to make sure people feel confident using these new technologies. And it's not just up to governments either. Companies like Haptic R&D Consulting play a big role here.
Right. How so?
Well, they're experts in cybersecurity for the travel industry. They work with businesses to implement the most robust security protocols and protect their systems from attack.
So they're not just building the systems, they're making sure they're safe to use.
Exactly. They're helping to build a more secure and trustworthy digital travel ecosystem.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential benefits of AI for travelers, but I'm curious to hear more about the bigger picture. How is AI going to change the travel industry as a whole? What kind of impact will it have on how we travel, like 5, 10 years down the line?
That's where things get really interesting. We're not just talking about solving today's problems anymore. We're talking about unlocking possibilities that we can barely imagine right now. Think about how much travel has changed just in the last decade. Now add these new AI-powered tools to the mix, and things could get really wild.
More wild than AI helping me pick the perfect cafe in Rome. I'm not sure I believe that.
Think bigger. Think about what frictionless travel could really mean. Imagine a world where borders are practically invisible, where moving between countries is as easy as traveling between cities is today.
Okay, that is a pretty bold vision. But how realistic is that really? We're talking about 27 different countries, each with their own laws and customs and systems. It seems like a logistical nightmare.
It's a massive challenge for sure. But the EU is taking concrete steps in that direction. They're working on creating a single digital gateway for all travel within the EU. So you could access all the information and services you need, like visa applications, health certificates, everything, all in one place.
So no more navigating through a maze of different websites and government portals. Everything would be streamlined and centralized.
Exactly. And AI-powered translation services could break down language barriers completely. You could communicate with anyone, anywhere, regardless of what language they speak.
Now that would be a game changer. It would make it so much easier to connect with people from different cultures.
And imagine getting personalized recommendations based on your interests, your travel style, even your health data. You could discover all sorts of hidden gems and experiences that you might never find on your own.
Like an app that suggests a hiking trail based on how fit you are and what kind of scenery you like.
Exactly. Or a restaurant that caters to your specific dietary needs.
Okay, I'm starting to see the possibilities here. This is way beyond just booking flights and hotels. This is about creating a whole new way to experience the world.
It is. And let's not forget about the potential of virtual and augmented reality.
Oh yeah, VR and AR. We talked about those a little earlier.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to hear more about how they fit into the bigger picture.
Well, imagine being able to preview your hotel room in virtual reality before you book it. Or take a virtual tour of a museum to see if it's something you'd actually want to visit.
That would be cool. It would take some of the guesswork out of planning and help you avoid those like tourist traps.
Exactly. And with augmented reality, you could get real-time information about your surroundings as you're exploring a new city. Like, point your phone at a building and instantly see its history, architectural style, maybe even find out what restaurants or shops are nearby.
It would be like having a personal tour guide right in your pocket. Pretty amazing. But with all these possibilities, we have to talk about the potential downsides too. What are some of the risks we should be thinking about as we move towards this tech-driven future of travel?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to get caught up in all the cool tech and forget about the potential downsides. What happens if we become too reliant on technology? Like, what if our phones die, or we lose internet connection, or we just stranded?
That's a good point. I think it's important to remember that technology should be a tool to make travel better, not something we totally depend on. We should still know how to read a map or like ask for directions in another language or figure things out if our plans go sideways.
Right, so it's about finding that balance between embracing the tech and still being like resourceful and adventurous. Exactly. And another thing to think about is digital exclusion. Not everyone has access to the latest gadgets or knows how to use them.
Yeah, we've touched on that a bit, but it's worth repeating. We don't want to create a situation where only rich, tech-savvy people get to enjoy all the benefits of this digital travel revolution.
Definitely. It's important to make sure everyone can benefit, regardless of their income or their tech skills. And then there's the whole sustainability question.
Oh, right. How do we make sure all this technology doesn't end up harming the environment?
Well, actually, technology can be a powerful tool for promoting sustainable travel.
Really? How so?
AI can be used to optimize transportation routes, which reduces fuel consumption. And digital platforms can make it easier to find eco-friendly hotels and tours.
So it's not about technology versus sustainability. It's about using technology to make travel more sustainable.
Exactly. And ultimately, it's up to all of us, the travelers, to make responsible choices about how we use technology and prioritize sustainability.
Okay, so this has been a pretty mind-blowing conversation. It's clear that the future of travel is going to look very different thanks to technology.
It definitely is. It's going to be fascinating to see how it all unfolds.
I'm excited to see what happens and a little bit nervous, honestly. But I think the important thing is that we have a say in how this all plays out. We can help shape this digital travel revolution and make sure it's a positive force in the world.
I agree. It's up to us to make sure technology is used to create a better travel experience for everyone and for the planet.
And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the EU's digital travel transformation.
It's been great exploring all this with you.
And to our listeners, we encourage you to keep learning about this stuff, think critically, and join the conversation about how technology is shaping the future of travel. It's a big deal, and it's something that affects us all.
Absolutely. Safe travels, everyone.
And that's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive. See you next time.